What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for MLB Friday, April 28th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, so we have an 11-game MLB slate tonight. So let's take a look at the pitcher position. So I think this is going to be somewhat of an underdog pick or a low ownership play because he is facing the Dodgers, who generally have some pretty good hitters on their team, but they're actually a low salary batting team. And Jack Flaherty, he's got a pretty big pitching advantage here versus the Dodgers because he's not facing any switch hitters. That's his weak pitch. And is only giving up a .458 OPS versus righties, facing 4 righties here tonight. And on top of that, the Dodgers have only hit 6 of his last 30 pitches. That's a .200 batting average. You're going to save some salary with this pick. Jack Flaherty is $8,400 FanDuel salary, $200 less on DraftKings, averaging 30 fantasy points per game on the season. He has an ERA of 3.29. Record is 2-2, pitching an average of 94 pitches per game. He scored 46, 22, and 31 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Jack Flaherty as an underdog pick here versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher first base position. Here's a value play. I like William Contreras with a 66% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Tyler Anderson. William Contreras batting 36% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a 1.099 OPS versus lefties. Tyler Anderson pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, 30% worse than his other pitches, giving up a 1.074 OPS versus righties. There's no at-bats versus Anderson yet. And I like this pick because William Contreras, only $2,800 FanDuel salary, $900 more on DraftKings, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season, scored fantasy points in all 5 of his last games, with some respectable scores in there, a 9, a 12, a 22, and he's got a batting average of 309. So I like William Contreras here versus Tyler Anderson. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And then we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Jeff McNeil. He's batting here against Max Fried. Now, Jeff McNeil is batting a .820 OPS versus lefties. Now, Max Fried, he's pitching pretty good here versus lefty batters this year, only giving up a .368 OPS versus lefties. But remember, we don't have a huge sample size yet for this season. And Jeff McNeil is 10 for 27 here versus Max Fried. That's a .370 batting average and a .838 OPS. So he's $3,100 FanDuel salary, $800 more on DraftKings, averaging 9 fantasy points per game on the season, scored fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5, scored 19 fantasy points last game,
and has a batting average of .301. So I think this could be a sneaky pick here tonight just because of the nice batter versus pitcher matchup. I think this makes sense, so I like Jeff McNeil as a tournament play here versus Max Fried. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. I like Austin Riley. He's got an 8% batting advantage here over David Peterson. Austin Riley batting 37% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a 1.120 OPS versus lefties. David Peterson, he's giving up a .817 OPS versus righties. Austin Riley, I like this pick because he's 8 for 16. It's a .500 batting average and a 1.217 OPS versus Peterson. He's got 3 doubles in there. So he's $3,500 FanDuel salary, $800 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .258. I think this batter versus pitcher matchup makes him a good stud pick. So I like Austin Riley here versus David Peterson.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. Here's another value play. I like Kevin Newman with a 57% batting advantage over a low-salary pitcher, Kyle Muller. Kevin Newman batting 67% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .939 OPS versus lefties. Kyle Muller giving up a .900 OPS versus righties. So there's no at-bats versus Muller yet. Kevin Newman is only $2,800 FanDuel salary, and he's $200 less on DraftKings. So I love that DraftKings price. He's averaging 7 fantasy points per game on the season, and he does have a batting average of .208, which is a little bit low, but I like the splits here tonight. He is much better versus lefty batters, so I think that makes sense to play him he's much better versus lefty pitchers, so I think it makes sense to play Kevin Newman here versus lefty pitchers, especially if that lefty pitcher is weak versus righty batters. So I like Kevin Newman as a value play here versus Kyle Muller. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. Here's a stud pick for you. I like Brian Reynolds with a 91% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Chad Kuhl. Brian Reynolds batting 60% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .992 OPS versus righties. Chad Kuhl pitching his worst ball versus switch hitters, giving up a 1.294 OPS versus switch hitters. Brian Reynolds, he is 0 for 1 here versus Kuhl. He's $3,900 FanDuel salary, $1,100 more on DraftKings, averaging 13 fantasy points per game on the season, scored fantasy points in all 5 of his last games, scored a 22, a 10, and a 16 in his last 3, has a batting average of .301. So I like the splits here tonight. I think he can hit one of Chad Kuhl's pitches. Chad Kuhl not good versus switch hitters. Brian Reynolds fantastic versus righty pitchers. So I like Brian Reynolds here versus Chad Kuhl.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com.
You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.